What's up, everybody? We're back. Another Friday show. Had some night shift last week. So last week of night shift until after Christmas. Got the Hillman Cancer Center ready for their $10 million piece of equipment. Last week was pretty wild. So Joey scored the high with 142, which is the lowest high of the year. The average was 100 points. It was like 100.3 or something like that, but I rounded down. It's 100.7 teams scored over the average, which means those 5 teams that scored under really scored under the average. One of those teams that scored under 101. So let's get into it. The first game was Joey with 142 beating Jeff with 96. Joey had a decent game, nothing really out of Brady, but Jamar finally came through, and he got solid days out of Breece Hall and Waddle. Kittle finally played. He got 12 points for him. CD, only 10, but I think Dak's back, and he played Phillies, so that might be CD's low for the year. Joey with a big 16 out of his defense. So Cousins had 19. Brady had 13. Joey's team is decent. I don't like Robinson. I love Breece Hall. I love Jamar. Love Waddle. Love CD. Don't like Kittle. But his second running back is very suspect.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about all along with him is he went real heavy on the receivers, made an interesting trade.
Well, the guy he traded for, Chase Edmonds, is currently on his bench. He had 4 points. And he's, I think, number 3 in Miami.
He went receiver heavy, lacked running backs. Breece Hall's been pleasantly playing pretty well. The Jets have been playing better. So I think he's okay there, but that second running back, we'll see what happens with Robinson. I don't know if it's just a little too late for him. I guess there's still about 8 weeks left, so we'll see.
Yeah, they were talking about beginning of the year, Gibson was returning punts, and they weren't overly interested in him running, and then Brian Robinson got shot, and now he came back and played, and they actually said last week we got to get Gibson more touches and more involved in the game, so there might be hope for the Gibson owner still. I don't remember who that is.
That's me.
Oh, I know he was on the block for a while, so you might be ready to really unload him.
I think every player on my team's on the block.
So Jeff's team, Geno had a down game, only 10 points this week. Austin Eckler's looking good. He turned his arrow around. He had 19. Jeff Wilson Jr. good with 2.5, and I don't know how bright the future is for Jeff Wilson Jr. Tyreek Hill had 25. That was a really nice game. Mike Evans was 6. I was shocked by this. Brady did not target Evans very often. He targeted Godwin a lot, and he spiked it at Godwin a few times.
I think it was part Brady, He was hungover after Kraft's wedding.
I don't disagree with that.
And part my old D. They stepped up. And this might be the best they've ever played against Brady.
Yeah, it only takes being out, I don't know, $120 million worth of talent.
I wish they could have played like this in one of the previous 20 years in multiple AFC Championship games.
Yeah, they got Brady's number. All it took was Witherspoon and who's the defensive back?
I don't even know half of them.
Yeah, I don't remember. That's what it took. But yeah, another down game out of Jeff. Looking at his bench, there's not a ton of help there either. Devontae Smith and Dawson Knox got his first touchdown, so I guess maybe you can hope for something better there, but we'll see. So let's go to the embarrassment game of the week, which was Abbott versus Palmer. Abbott scored 77 points and won the game. So he's the one that went under the 100 points to win. And Palmer scored 55 points. There's been multiple weeks where a single player has scored 55. Palmer has successfully put together a roster that scored 55 points. And he got 10 points out of Zach Ertz. I mean, that's a hard thing to do.
He almost had 20.
He got 20 out of McCaffrey. So he got 30 out of 2 players, and that was really the problem. Zach Wilson with 3, Aaron Jones with 5, Cortland Sutton with 2, Drake London with 5, James Robinson with 6. He needs Keenan Allen back. He needs Dameon Pierce come off his bye. I assume Derek Carr is his starter, but at 55 points is an impressively inept game.
It's an embarrassment.
It wasn't much better on Abbott's side, Kyler was 16, Mixon 14, Fournette 19, and then a bunch of garbage the rest of the way. This game, I think they should both be their teams should be dismantled.
I agree. Tim started hot. He's vastly cooled off. Matt, I think he's 4-2. I think primarily by luck.
I don't know that Abbott has scored a huge number of points any week. He's definitely not. I don't think he's been the scorer of the week. I don't know. Maybe he has. I have to look. Let's go to a different game where both teams scored over 100, barely. Pat got 117. He beat Kurt at 102. Kurt had 102. He doubled Palmer's score, and he didn't play a flex player. So I'm surprised by that. And I was texting with Pat that night, and Pat was rooting for his kicker so bad because he didn't want it to come down to if he would have played this player, he would have won. Higgins was on the bench with 7. I know they were saying Higgins might not play, but might not play is better than just leaving it empty.
Yeah, that's interesting that he left it empty.
Yeah.
Luckily, there wasn't anybody on his bench to really fill that spot, so that would have got him the win at least.
Yeah. So Ramondre with 23 again. I'm wondering when Damian Harris, is that him?
Yes.
Damian Harris comes back because Ramondre's been looking awesome as a lone ball carrier. Jalen Hurts with 20, below average game for him. Jefferson with 15, a below average game with him. A.J. Brown 15. Was A.J. Brown one of the guys in the trade?
Yes.
Good. Godwin with 12, we said it earlier. The
Godwin was also in that trade.
The stifling, so So, okay. I wonder if DJ Moore's arrow goes up now that there's absolutely no other talent in Carolina.
I don't think so. I mean, they don't have a quarterback right now either. Or, I guess they still have Baker, but...
They have Baker, they have Darno, and they have P.J. Walker. And
yeah, like I said, they don't really have a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm curious. I guess they were talking about people were offering trades for DJ Moore in real life, and they're saying he's a pillar of our future. And DJ Moore has to hate that so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they just traded away everyone, including their coach and star running back.
They're a nightmare. The other side, Burrow at 38. He's looking strong now. Diggs with 27. Diggs has been just a consummate professional. He's on fire.
Number 1 ranked receiver.
I mean, this was a big game. I'm below both of these guys, so I can only move up one either way. But they were both 3-2 before this game, so I guess it doesn't matter. But looking at the teams, I think I would root for Kurt to lose. I think it's easier with all the superstars, with Jalen Hurts, Ramondre Stevenson, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Godwin. That's a lot of talent. Yeah. I feel safer there than with, like... I think George Pickens will be good, but with the bouncing back and forth with quarterbacks and, allegedly receivers arguing and fighting, and is it a Claypool game, is it a Deontay game, is it a Pickens game? I don't think there's enough to go around. Burrow is definitely a superstar, but I still pick Hurts over him fantasy-wise. Either way, Pat got the win. Next game is the battle of the first place guys. Battle of the 1 and 2 on the power rankings. The General and Stu. Dirty Sanchez. Tags barely won by 5 on the heels of Josh Allen putting up another impressive 31. Mahomes with kind of a down game with 21. Dalvin Cook had a decent game, 17. Travis Kelce had 17. That's a down game for Stu. Kenneth Walker at 18. I think Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall look really strong. I told Tagmar earlier today that I would put a ton of stock in Breece Hall being the number 1 running back next year. And there's a lot of things to go into that, but if you look at the prior running back ones, Jonathan Taylor had Carson Wentz. McCaffrey had whoever, Darno, when he was number 1. The past years, the number 1 running back, Derrick Henry doesn't have a strong quarterback. I think Zach Wilson's very okay, but I don't see where the Breece Hall, Carter's going to fade out. Breece Hall will get all the catches, all the carries. I really like Breece Hall. I wish I could remember this next year, and instead of taking like a number 1 Jonathan Taylor who's not going to play half the year, I would fall back into like the 8 or 9 spot, get a good Breece Hall style running back, Josh Jacobs style running back this year, and then get a top end receiver in the second round. But I'll probably get first or second pick again, and then it'll just be a catastrophe. Mike Williams, is there a concern for Mike Williams? He scored 2 points again. He has not been what he was.
I think we talked about it already. He's a boomer bust guy.
No
He's
doubt.
either going to get 2 touchdowns and 150 yards, or he's not going to be involved in the game plan at all. I think that's the same thing with Jerry Jeudy. Both of his receivers, they're the guy that run the just the
fly patterns.
The long fly route. They either catch it and put up a ton of points, or they're not involved and they score under 10.
So Mike Williams, week 1 got 2 points, week 2 got 23, week 3 got 8, week 4 got 17, week 5 got 20, week 6 got 2. That brings his average to 12 points, and that's not, that's good for 15th overall, but, Mike Williams, especially with Keenan Allen gone, you would assume he was...
Well, yeah, and 27 came in one game, so you take out that one game, and it's...
Yeah, he's way down. Chubb with only 7 for Stu. Singletary had a decent 12. I think you only expect maybe 10 out of your second running back. Cooper Kupp surprisingly only had 13 against the Carolina defense. Kenneth Walker with 18, like we said. Stu had a decent game, but just didn't have, that Chubb held him. Chubb gets a touchdown, he wins the game. And
I think what really tier 2, who had his first good game, was Juju.
I forgot. I was going to mention that. He had 22 points.
That almost doubles his high points for the year. So I think that's where Tags won it. Before that, Juju hasn't done anything.
Very much has not. Next one, we're rolling with Jack. Return doubtful, 116 versus Bry Guy, 67. So higher than Palmer, but not by much. How did he get there? Herbert was 6. I'm going to come out and just flat say it. Herbert's a disappointment.
I agree. I thought he was one of the MVP candidates. And, looking at his points now, 26, 13, 21. I guess he's dropping down a little bit. He started pretty good. But, yeah, he's not playing at the same level as Mahomes or Allen or
you
Lamar.
draft him, he's in that big top 5, I would think, with Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, and Herbert. That's the elite top-tier talent, and Herbert doesn't run, so Hurts and Lamar do, for the most part. Najee with 11, so he got double digits. J.K. Dobbins with 1. Dobbins is, he's kind of in and out now. I don't think he's 100% healed. Kenyon Drake looked very good, so you can't blame the opponent for Dobbins' output and injury, but I don't know. McLaurin was 6. Now, it's noted that you're a McLaurin fan. Now that Wentz is out, are you higher or lower on McLaurin? Or the same?
No, I think I'm going lower on McLaurin.
Oh, really?
I'm going lower on all of the Washington receivers, I think, except for Dotson.
Yeah.
I have Samuel in another league. I was high on him. His numbers have fallen a lot. McLaurin's haven't been nearly as good. It seems like Dotson was the early,
he came
most
out the
consistent producer there, but he's hurt.
Yeah, I actually kind of like McLaurin more now. I think Wentz is more hang in the pocket, take the hit, throw fluttering interception, whereas Heineke he just launched it last year and McLaurin caught it. He still only had 4 touchdowns, but I think you'd kill for 4 touchdowns now. Gabe Davis looks good. He's an excellent number 2 receiver on Buffalo. Nothing else really. Clyde Edwards-Helaire 3. I'm officially calling it, so he's probably going to boom this week, but Hilaire's done. The numbers finally caught up to him. He was getting like 3 carries, but 2 touchdowns before. That's why he was so high, and now he's not getting many carries, not getting many catches, and now it's 3 points. It is against Buffalo. But I don't love his variable. His numbers were down. He got 5 points last week, 3 points this week. 21 the week before, but he also got 2 touchdowns. So,
yeah, the verdict's still out on him. I still like him. I think Kansas City has enough explosiveness in their offense that we'll see.
So Jack, although starting Dalton Schultz with 0 points, gets the win. Daniel Jones looked good. He got 17. He's a very streamable asset at this point. Zeke with 15. He broke out a little bit, and that was against Philly, so that's a very promising sign. He played both guys. He played Zeke and Pollard, so I would assume one's going to get you the points, one's not. Debo looked decent, 12 points. I wonder if McCaffrey helps Debo. I would assume it might because now you have to actually respect the run. I never really cared. San Fran sort of made their name on getting these middling running backs and making them good, and now they have a good running back, so who knows if that works or doesn't. Claypool had his game. He got 19. He looked really good. Deion Jackson, 23. I was going to bid on him. I did bid on him a little bit, but I spent so much the week before on backup running backs. I didn't want to burn him from one game, I hope. So hopefully Deion Jackson's out and Taylor's back in. You know, he had a lot on his bye, too, so that's a nice win. He had Jacobs and Devontae Adams on his bye, Stafford on his bye. They did a numbers price per talent, I guess, on Spotrac podcast. And the number one worst quarterback is Stafford per cost. Number two is Russell Wilson. Barely. It's close. And then I think Goff was up there because he is just so ridiculously expensive. But the last game of the week, I don't know if you want to skip over it or if you want to go into it, but it was the podcast rivalry game. It was me versus you. I won 112-86. That puts both of our records at 2-4. And, you know, Mark Andrews had a great game. Pittman had a great game. My Patriots defense had a great game. For you, Barkley had a pretty good game, not quite a great game. Boone played terrible. The Denver defense has been lights out. They kind of let you down a little bit. But it was 30 points. I think it was a lot. It was closer early, and then we started pulling away with...
Yeah, I think the big difference for me was the tight end and flex. That's really where I think you won it. I got a total of about 5 points out of mine. You got close to 35, yeah. So, and that's really the big difference. I think, running backs kind of won by a little bit. Quarterback, you won by a little bit. Receivers, you won by a little bit more. But then those two positions, you just crushed me.
So you missed with Taysom Hill and Pitts. Not that it would have changed you, but you still want to try to make the right pick. How are you moving forward with that? Are you going to just play the odds every week and hope you pick right, or what's your plan?
My plan is to trade Taysom Hill and start Pitts.
Good plan. Hope it works out for you.
We'll see.
You will see. I can't get the Green Bay receivers right. I start Lazard, Dobbins scores. I start Dobbins, Lazard scores. That's my big issue right now. Well, my big issue is having Algier and Benjamin as my running backs. That's a real issue. But I, like with Jack, I got the win on the bad week, so I'm happy. It worked out pretty good. So that's our wrap up. Kurt had the crown. He lost it to Pat. And I got this fact before so week 6, right before the Arizona game started. There has been last year there was 100 more touchdowns than there is today, and 2 years ago there was 120 more touchdowns. Wow. So offense is down tremendously.
That's why the scoring was so low.
The scoring is way low. They are saying that they feel the offensive lines aren't as good, and the defenders, the edge rushers, are much better than they used to be. So I wonder if that's quarterback's not getting time, receivers not getting open fast enough. I wonder if that's the case. So this week, I'm going to crack one. It's just sitting here. Samuel Adams Jack O Pumpkin Ale. You ever have this?
I don't think so.
I know you're a big pumpkin fan.
Yep. Is this mine?
It's going to be yours, sir. Let me open it for you. This is a very big bottle opener.
Not bad.
Not bad. It says cheers.
Well,
cheers.
Salute. If you were to score it, what's your score?
Tyler Algier. It's not awful. I don't really like pumpkin beers. I don't really love Sam Adams. I love cherry wheat. I love summer ale. It's not terrible.
I'll give it a 7.5.
I got the spice now. With is this pumpkin spice or just pumpkin?
Just pumpkin
ale.
Jack O pumpkin ale.
It kind of tastes like a cinnamon aftertaste thing.
I'll give it a 7.5.
It's okay. I mean, I'll give it a 5, but it's probably best pumpkin beer I've ever tasted.
Okay.
Next week, week 7?
Yes.
Is that where we're at now? Week 7. So the season's 12 and in the playoffs, right? So we're past half. Or is it 14 in the playoffs?
14.
So this is halfway. How do you feel about that? Well, we'll go into that when we look at the standings. First game is Tags versus me. Tagmeyer is 16 points up already. He got 16 out of Alave. That's a good start. I thought I had a nice week with his bye week. He had Allen, Cook, and Miles Sanders on a bye. Alave coming back from injury. And it looks like DeAndre Swift coming back from injury, which is unfortunate because I've been without DeAndre Swift and Guillotine for 6 weeks, and I'm so excited to have him back now that I look and I'm playing him. So it's an issue there. I don't know. Mike Williams versus Seattle. Seattle, I think, is the worst secondary versus receivers. Tannehill versus Indy. Indy's defense is okay. DeAndre Swift versus Dallas. That's the big one. Dallas is not someone you want to start your running backs with.
I think you win it.
Is Freiermuth playing? I assume he's in.
He's cleared. Yeah.
He's cleared. So
Pickett's cleared as well, so he should start.
Okay. I have Lamar versus Cleveland. I love that. Jonathan Taylor versus Tennessee. I love that. Kenyon Drake versus Cleveland. I love that. Pittman. I love.
Pittman played great last game.
Lazard. I love. Wan'Dale Robinson. I love. I'm kind on him. Big. I think he's going to be the next, not Jamar Chase or Jefferson, but he's going to be a very competent flex receiver for me, and I think he'll be great in that position. There's no other receivers left. And Daniel Jones is actually looking decent. My concern here, and he doesn't have a designation, is Mark Andrews. He did not play.
He returned to practice Friday.
That's what I'm looking at right now. He didn't practice Wednesday, which is the Vets Day, whatever they call it, the OG Day. So Lamar didn't practice, Dobbins didn't practice, Andrews didn't practice. And then Thursday, everyone returned to practice except Dobbins and Andrews, and we know how Dobbins is. And then I was very concerned because you typically don't get 2 days off after a loss. So if Andrews plays, I'm very content. I have 3 leagues right now, and I have Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews in all 3 leagues. I lost Hollywood Brown, and if I would lose Andrews, I would probably just quit and look toward next year and try to figure out a way to get Breece Hall in the first round.
Lamar will be fine. Andrews will be fine. You'll win this. This is one of the worst lineups I've ever seen out of the General.
Yeah, I don't think McKissick.
Tannehill, McKissick, Freiermuth and Juju, Mike Williams. I mean, I don't think it's a good lineup at all.
It's not a good lineup, and I'm going to take myself as well. So the Bills, Rams, Vikings, and Eagles are all on a bye. And so the Bills, their best player is Josh Allen. Tags has it. The Vikings, their best player is Jefferson, but Cook's probably 2.
The Eagles, Sanders.
Eagles, it would be Hurts. Well,
but Tags has
Sanders. Tags. So he has a lot of the bye. This is a bad bye week for him. I wish he had the Rams defense or something. That'd be awesome. So we're both taking me. So last week, actually, I went 3-3. You went 2-4. It puts me to 17-10, and you're back at 15-15, which doesn't add up. 17-13 is what I was.
You cooking the books?
I'm looking. I'm like, that doesn't add up to the same thing you had.
You're 2 games ahead of me.
Yeah, 17-13, and you're 15-15. So 500 still. That's pretty good. Next game is Abbott versus Jeff. Abbott starts with 17 points. You got 17 out of Murray. Again, that's a Daniel Jones game. That's not a Kyler Murray game. I would be upset if I was a Kyler Murray owner. He was that elite quarterback. He was an MVP for most of the year last year, and then he kind of fell off. But maybe Hopkins coming back helps. You don't want 17 out of Kyler Murray. You want 17 out of the first half. That's not good enough. Mixon versus Atlanta should be juicy. Fournette versus Carolina. Carolina's got a decent defense, but I don't know if you can't be playing hard. You don't have a coach. Your only offensive player that's good is gone. Deontay versus Miami. I think that might be a back and forth passing game, so, that's probably good. Did you see the picture of the sidelines of Miami versus Minnesota with the thermometer?
With the heat.
That was crazy. It's like a 40-degree difference.
I guess the only thing we got going for us this week, it's at night, so maybe it's cool.
So that's, there you go. So it doesn't matter as much. Tyler Lockett versus Chargers. I don't know. Gesicki's not really a pass-catching tight end anymore for some reason. And he is awful at doing the gritty. He got 21 points last week, but before that he got 0.6, 12, 1, 3, 3. Gesicki's a problem. Melvin Gordon is an issue as well. The Jets have a decent defense, and Melvin Gordon is a Gordon Boone. It doesn't matter.
They didn't even play Gordon last week.
Yeah, so they're not great. On the other side, Dak comes back for Jeff. Austin Eckler looks good versus Seattle. Jeff Wilson. McCaffrey got traded Friday. I don't think he's going to play this week. They're kind of saying he's going to get little packages in the red zone, which is probably the worst thing in the world if you're a Jeff Wilson owner. Tyreek Hill should be decent, but so should the receivers last week. Mike Evans against Carolina. Again, that should be okay. Gerald Everett. Montgomery versus New England. New England got a really good defense.
Yes.
Currently, his defense is on a bye, and he could absolutely drop Matt Breida. Or Treylon Burks, who's hurt. Isn't Treylon Burks out for the year?
That I'm not sure. I'm going with Jeff in this game.
I'm going with Jeff as well, but you got to clean up his defense.
I think he's just waiting for Sunday morning.
Yeah, he's 1-5, but I don't think his team's terrible. Hill and Evans are good.
Eckler's the 2 ranked running back. Well, now he got his quarterback.
He got his quarterback.
Dak's back. Eckler's number 2 running back. Tyreek Hill and Evans. I mean, Hill's the number 3 ranked receiver. I think it's probably just some bad luck.
It could be bad luck. That's always a concern. Next game is Pat versus Palmer. Palmer has 5 points, so he's already 10% to his total.
Yeah, I mean,
he got 5 out of Zach Ertz, who was one of his best players last week.
Yeah, he's having a good week so far.
Yeah. So it looks like the Kenny Pickett move has been made. Jalen Hurts, yeah. So Kenny Pickett, I don't know. I mean, Pickett coming off a concussion, I don't know. But I guess you have to at this point. Ramondre versus Chicago should be decent. Mostert versus Steelers defense. Is it Mostert? Is it Evans? Is it, I think there's 3 running backs there, isn't there?
Yeah. Is Gaskin still there?
Gaskin was good last year, and then you don't hear anything about him now. Just like, James Robinson was great last year, and now it's the ETN show.
Yeah, good to start this year, too.
And those teams aren't teams that have the luxury of just drafting running backs every year. You got to kind of hit and then move on. DJ Moore versus Tampa, I think that's an awful matchup. Godwin versus Carolina, I don't think that's a great matchup. Pat does not currently have a backup tight end, it looks like. So, who knows? Maybe he could roll without a tight end and probably...
Yeah, I think actually, looking at... Tag's lineup, I think he's faced the same thing. He got some Philadelphia, he has some Vikings.
Yeah.
I'm as much as I hate to say it, I think I'm gonna have to go with Palmer.
Looking at it right now, the only person I really feel good about is Ramondre.
Yeah, I'm going with Palmer in this one.
Oh boy, Can you do that? Oh, Dameon Pierce is back for Palmer. That's his best player. Brandon Cooks is back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he has Pierce, McCaffrey's.
But if they put him if they give him like 6 carries strictly to get him a touchdown, that's a good game. That beats out Mostert,
I think this might be the low-scoring game of the week.
It very well could be. Keenan Allen. I wonder if Keenan Allen, I don't think he's playing. James Robinson, Alec Pierce, Evan Ingram there. He should trade Evan Ingram to Pat for DJ Moore. Man, I think I'm gonna take.
You're taking Pat?
I think I'm gonna. I don't feel good about it. I'm not taking it. I'm taking Palmer because I need Pat to lose.
I'm taking Palmer because I think that is another very bad game.
Yeah, this is another tough week. Let's look at a game that. Let's look at the next game. That's you versus Kurt. You're 2-4. Kurt's 3-3. Oh, I'm sorry. Pat was the crown holder, so maybe Palmer gets that this week. You're already up 31-zip. 14 out of Kamara. Not great, but it's
I'll take it.
a good day. 17 out of Hopkins. I think that's really nice because you don't know what you're going to get out of Hopkins. He hasn't played in a while, so coming back with 17 points without scoring a touchdown is very, very good. That's fantastic.
And that helps my team a ton because now I don't have to put Mike Boone or, Antonio Gibson in my flex.
Yeah.
I drop one of the receivers to flex now. We'll see what Kyle Pitts does, but I like where I'm at. I still stand that I like my team a lot.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers versus Washington should be decent. Barkley versus Jacksonville. I don't really know about that game. That's a weird game because I think Jacksonville's only underdog by 3. And the Giants are, supposedly good, and Jacksonville doesn't seem to be that great. But Metcalf, I'd be interested to see how Metcalf does because he's another one that seems like he's kind of up and down.
Yeah, he is. He's he's been pretty good as a number 2. Yeah, he's had 3 high-scoring games, 3 low-scoring games. Good as a number 2 or number 3, which with Hopkins back, that's what he is. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy. But yeah, he's I'd say a little more consistent than Mike Williams, but on that similar track.
Amari Cooper versus Baltimore. That's your breakout guy this week, I think. Between the Broncos defense versus Jets and Amari Cooper versus Baltimore, I think that's where you're gonna make your hay. Other side, Burrow versus Atlanta. Derrick Henry is back versus Indy. Derrick Henry with a week off. That's pretty solid. Etienne versus the Giants. That's the game we were talking about. It's weird. He has Bateman in. I don't think Bateman is playing. Pickens in versus Miami. I don't love that. Hawkinson versus Dallas. T. Higgins versus Atlanta. So that's his deal. Actually, Detroit versus the Cowboys defense. So that's the same thing. Higgins and his defense versus Cooper and your defense, I think, is going to be where the game's determined. I don't think Bateman practiced. I don't think he's playing. Looking real quick. Bateman is unsettled. He missed the last 2 weeks with a foot sprain. He practiced limited, which is encouraging. So you can see how awful the Ravens are without Bateman. I'm not sure they're going to rush him back. I think when they get him back, they want him back healthy. Elijah Moore. Was it Elijah Moore? Once a trade? I'd be okay with that. It'd be nice to have a number 2. It's not named Duvernay. I'm going to take, again, I think Kurt has the edge on you, but I need Kurt to lose, and you had to a really nice start, so I'm going to take you in this matchup.
I think I have the edge on him big time. I think Hopkins coming back, this starts my turnaround. I think I go 7-1 to end the season.
7-1
today. Yeah.
Who wouldn't you lose?
I thought it would be cocky if I said I went 8-0, so I had to throw a loss in there.
7-1 isn't cocky?
No, I think that is realistic.
Accurate. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll see how we'll see. You're 7-1, so we'll like I've been tracking the Steelers. My 5-12 season stats it's not going the way I thought, but the losses are adding up the way I had them. It's just not the teams I thought. But so we're gonna monitor your 7-1. Maybe we can print out the schedule and you can see where you feel your loss is gonna come up. Next game is Stu versus Jack. Jack has some nice matchups, man. Daniel Jones versus Jacksonville, Ezekiel Elliott versus Detroit, Josh Jacobs versus Houston, Adams versus Houston, Debo versus KC on a high-scoring game. He still has Pollard. He has all of Detroit. He has Pollard, Schultz, and Zeke. His bench, Claypool maybe. Deion Jackson's out. I hope that's a good thing for Taylor. I wonder if you don't put Chase in and try to chase last week's points again, but I guess it's up to him. The other side, Mahomes versus San Fran. San Fran's decent. San Fran's defense is elite, but Patrick Mahomes is matchup proof. Chubb versus Baltimore. Man, Kenneth Walker versus the Chargers. He got decent matchups for his running backs. Amon-Ra St. Brown is back versus Dallas, though. Christian Kirk has been a pleasant surprise. He's playing the Giants, Kelsey, San Fran. He has, if nothing else, his matchups are games where it's going to be scoring will happen, I think, except maybe the Dallas-Detroit game. Every other game, although San Fran's defense versus KC and his kicker's on a bye. So he has Kupp and James Cook and Singletary on a bye. Yeah, I think it's a rough week for... still, though, with Mahomes and Chubb, what are the projections? 109 to 108. No help. I think I'm going to take the Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams side. I think I'm taking Jack in a bit of a stunner. Jack in a stunner versus Stu.
You know what? I wanted to take Jack.
It's
I
hard
just
to,
can't with the Dalton Schultz hasn't been playing well at all, I don't think.
No.
And having Pollard and Zeke in, I think that hurts him. Also, I want to pick against you to help
I was going to say we've been the same
build.
the whole way.
So I'm going to take Stu.
And also, Stu's in my division, so I need him to lose again. Although I don't feel I'm catching him, it'd be nice to have a chance. Last game on the slate, Joey 2-4 versus Bry 2-4. Brees Hall versus Denver. That's actually a tough matchup. Chase versus Atlanta is a good matchup. CD versus Detroit's a great matchup. Kittle versus KC should be good. Waddle versus the Steelers, which we think should be a good matchup, but maybe the Steelers are locked down on the cornerbacks now. The other side for Bry, Herbert versus Seattle. He has to do well this game. Seattle does not stop anyone passing. Najee versus Miami. I don't think Miami's run defense is too bad. Dobbins versus Cleveland. I think that could be an issue with Dobbins' injury hanging over him. McLaurin versus Green Bay. I kind of like McLaurin, but I don't. Green Bay's a mystery to me. It's supposed to be a lot better of a defense. That doesn't seem to be the case. Ayuk versus KC. Be a lot of throw in there. Njoku versus Baltimore. Edwards-Helaire at San Fran. I would almost. They're projecting Helaire 10 points against San Fran. I can assure you that will not happen. He'll go under that.
I think Helaire gets over that.
Okay. Well, that's we can do our CEH bet then. Over.
Yeah. I want it on record. CEH goes over 10 points.
Over 10. I'm going to take Joey in this matchup. I think the Brees Hall, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, even Waddle. I mean, he has good receivers. It's just not working out for him too. Brady's a problem.
I'm with you as well. I think as much as I like or did like Bry's team, Darren Waller, he doesn't have him in. He hasn't been playing nearly what he has done in the past. Gabe Davis is out this week. Who knows what McLaurin's going to be. Justin Herbert, we talked about him. I'm going with Joey as well.
Excellent. That wraps up Week 7 preview. That leaves us with your power rankings. I don't know if there's a ton of movement. I think there's probably a new number 1.
There's been some. There's a new number 12.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I had Joey was sitting in that spot for a few weeks. He's moving up. Generic team, Jeff, he's back to the...
Jeff is back at the bottom. He's been at the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and Joey's been 1.
And I think it's more luck than anything. Coming in at number 11 is another team that's fallen fast.
I think I know this one.
2 or 3 weeks ago, this team was probably in the top 5. Now they're all the way down to 11.
So week 4, I think this team was number 2. And then he scored 55 points, if I'm not wrong.
And the Crumb Snatchers fall to 11.
11, yeah.
You don't break 60. I think he's on
Is that your standard?
A 3-game losing streak. He's falling fast. Number 10, another team we talked about I liked from the beginning, but they just haven't been able to produce. I picked them to lose this week. The Rough Cats.
Yeah, he was what was his height? His height was 4 a couple weeks ago.
Coming in at number 9 is a team that's slowly rising, I think, on Brees Hall's back. That's chasing the championship.
Excellent.
Coming in at number 8 as Ben's Baloney Boppers, myself truly. I'm actually number 2 in my division in points, and I think I'm in last place, or second to last.
That's the worst thing ever.
Coming in at number 7 is you. You and I have kind of been flipping around towards the middle to the end of the draft, or the end of the lineup. Need to just string some wins together.
Yeah, we've definitely looking at it. It's back and forth. We're both right around the middle.
Coming in at number 6 is the Army in North. I think they were, number 2 last week, maybe?
They were number 2 in the crown holder last week.
Not playing a flex, getting beat. And now I think he's, is he on the outside of the playoffs looking in, or he's right there?
No, I think I'm 1 game back from him still.
Okay. Number 5, team from the beginning that's a little bit surprised is returned doubtful Jack.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't real pleased with his running backs. We went receiver heavy, but Zeke produced last week. He's maybe he'll start rolling, and he's been playing pretty well. So Jack's at number 5. Number 4 is S.A. Quarantine. You could flip 4 and 5 back and forth. I've liked Ab's team from the beginning. I think he's going to have some problems, especially with Melvin Gordon. Kind of got lucky last week playing the Crumb Snatchers, but at 4 and 2, I think he's the lowest ranked 4-win team, or maybe, like I said, 4 and 5. Coming at number 3 is the Agenda. They've been floating around, the playoffs pretty much all 7 weeks now.
He started out at 8. And now he's been 3-3-3, 4-3.
Yeah, he's been right there the entire time. This week, I don't expect a great week out of him this week. A lot of buys, but, we'll see. At number 2, and actually falling for the first time this week, which will make the General happy, is Dirty Sanchez. They played head-to-head. General won. So Dirty Sanchez drops down, and the General gets the top spot.
There it is. The General gets the top spot. So points for, you mentioned that. Right now, Stu is points for with 891. Tags with a very respectable 755, but he's 140 points less than Stu has. And then Kurt with 751, so he's only 4 points less than Tags. Then there's kind of a ledge. Then there's myself at 692, so I'm 60 points off the pace, but still 4th in the league in points for with 2 wins now. Then it goes to Pat, 686. Then it goes to you, 681.
So yeah, points wise, I'm right in the middle of the league.
Then there's a 70-point drop, and then it goes to Jeff. So even Jeff, he's in the top half. He's right in the middle, I guess. Points against, just to weigh it out. Jeff has 764, Bryce 732, myself at 706, Stu at 706. Kurt 684, and then you at 680. So between the first and the last, Jack has 586 points, Jeff has 764. That is roughly 180 points in 7 weeks. That is substantial.
That's luck.
That's luck. How's the streaks looking? Jack's won 3 in a row.
Palmer's lost
3 in a row, so that's the whole gamut. I've won 1 in a row. You've lost 1 in a row, so we're just both in the middle. So last night, McCaffrey got traded for a 2nd rounder, 3rd rounder, 4th rounder this year coming up, and then a 5th rounder the next year. I don't think San Fran has any picks left next year. Think that's a good move, good trade, or what do you think?
It's nice to get McCaffrey, but I don't think he's going to be the one to put them over the top. Garoppolo's not bad at quarterback. It's lucky they had him, but I just don't see McCaffrey coming in there, and I never really thought running the ball was a problem for them.
No, they always had that Jones scheme where they could run with almost anybody. Who did they draft 2 years ago?
Was it Trey Sermon, maybe?
It was Trey Sermon. They just cut him. So, they do have running back issues, I guess, or they don't know how to use the talent they have. But it's a steep price to pay. They've invested a ton of money in Trey Lance, a ton of capital in Trey Lance, and he's not panned out. And now they've invested a huge amount in McCaffrey, who is been a more injury-prone running back as well.
Yeah, I don't know if part of the trade was to get him so maybe the Rams couldn't, because I think he might help the Rams a little more. But, yeah, I guess we'll see.
We'll see. Absolutely. If they win, it's worth it. I guess Philly's still number 1 in the NFC, but I would assume San Fran's up there. Minnesota's pretty good still.
Yeah. Minnesota's 1 loss.
Yeah, I don't think anything else. NFC-wise matters. I don't know. You got anything else?
I was just reading the chat real quick to...
That'd be good. We were playing hockey earlier. Tags and he said something about Brian was eating his finger.
Bry Guy did post a picture of him eating his finger. Jake, it looks like he's up camp.
So I heard camp's very expensive now also, from what Tag said. I don't need to be in the chat because I get filled in on all the bullet points. Camp's very expensive. And I said, well, because of gas? He goes, no, because of food. And I go, well, don't you go to camp and get like a pack of hot dogs, cook it over the fire, and that's food? I don't know.
I mean, that's
Doesn't he hunt and trap? Can he eat the animals he kills?
I mean, that's what I thought camp was. Apparently, it's not for some people.
Which he had chef's camp?
We also brought up this week about how he almost was an investor in a flipping business, but
I'm familiar with that business.
He actually didn't bring much to the table, so it fell through.
It definitely did fall through.
And it's one of his biggest regrets in life.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm sure that has affected him enough that if that opportunity comes up again, he'll be able to just seize it, and he's improved himself that he can change the output. He can change the outcome. I just actually heard today there's I don't know. They said about the market, the housing market is crashing. Not crashing, it's slowing down very abruptly due to price hikes and interest hikes and everything. So maybe if the bottom falls out again, there'll be houses to be able to purchase and flip. And so I'm sure he has his eye out for another opportunity.
Not during trapping season.
No, absolutely not. Your new home, is there how's the podcast area going to be? Tara made it very clear that there is a podcast area.
I don't know where that area is specifically.
Have you ever seen this house yet?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's about all I've contributed to it, but I've seen it. There might be. I don't know where it will be. There isn't a bar, which I'm a little disappointed about.
I do like the setup we have.
I would like to get one maybe and put one in, but yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
I'm sure we'll be all right.
Maybe we'll have to go on your location for a couple.
I put new lights in. I have LED lights now. I'm actually trying to build a shelf in the corner to hang the whiteboard on, so I don't just hang it on walls, even though you can't see it in the camera anyway. But
well, coming up here, we'll have it's almost Thanksgiving, so maybe we'll have our Thanksgiving special.
That's the Thanksgiving blowout.
Maybe we can also start to invite a special guest or two here and there.
There's definitely one person that's interested in doing it.
Do you want to drop who it is?
I can, because I don't think it's going to happen, because he's one of the most unreliable people I know. He's not in our league. He never was in our league, so that takes Jake out of it. There's a little gnat.
Yeah, I know.
So we went to dinner with Johnny and Jill last week. And Bridget, we were just talking, and Bridget goes, oh, yeah, the podcast. And Johnny goes, you have a podcast? I go, yeah, Mark and myself do a YouTube video for our fantasy league. Hey, you ought to join in. He goes, that'd be great. I'd love to. He doesn't currently play fantasy football. I'm not sure that if you take the Steelers out of it, I don't think he watches football.
If you text him to come on next week, do you think he responds before week 17?
He does, because he's currently watching Game of Thrones, and he is like 4 episodes away from a very, very pivotal situation. And I told him, after you watch this episode, call me. So he texts me. We'll text, not every day, every other day. Hey, how's it? Where are you at? Oh, dude, this happened, blah, blah, blah. And he's really close to the Red Wedding. And that is probably one of the best episodes of the entire season. Did you watch it?
Never watched it. No clue.
Gee, well, it's impressive. That being said, we kind of went over. We're at 49 minutes, but we did some NFL talk. Oh, Steeler game. I know you're done with football now. Is there a location?
Not yet.
It's an afternoon. It's a night game.
Tomorrow's the last game of football. Well, should be. If we lose, it's the last game.
Is it a tough task?
We're in the playoffs. We're the lowest seed playing the highest seed.
Ooh.
And I have to drive to Latrobe to watch this game at 6 p.m. on a Saturday night.
Well, at least...
But if we don't move forward, then it is the last week, and then we can start Super Friends Steeler Sunday.
I'm looking forward to that. I don't really...
You'll be involved.
I'm glad, although the meat of the schedule's over. I would have loved to watch. Like the Philly, I still think Philly beats them.
I think they might go on a run like my fantasy team.
Philly? They are on a
No,
run
the
currently.
Steelers.
Oh. I definitely agree with you. I don't think they're going to beat Philly, but I think that their schedule, I'm not sure about New Orleans anymore unless everybody comes back. And then outside of Philadelphia, I mean, even Miami, Tua's first came back. I don't know that that's a lock.
The division's wide open, I think.
Yeah, but the two teams, they listed 5 teams with the easiest remaining schedule. Ravens and the Browns are 2 of the 5.
Okay.
So the Ravens had already played the Giants, Buffalo, Miami. That was their 3 losses. They've already played a bunch of the tougher teams, so I think they're going into an easier schedule now. So get Bateman back, make sure Andrew's healthy, and Lamar starts playing like he's supposed to play. Get me some points, and we'll be good to go.
I'm just more excited about Super Friends Sunday. I got that nat, and
Oh, nice.
watching the games in Red Zone.
Red Zone, absolutely. All right, good luck to everyone, unless you're in my division this week.
I hope everyone loses except me.
11, 10 ties and 1 loss and 1 win.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good for you.
Adios.
Later.